Have you ever wondered how to create a design for a t-shirt in Illustrator? If your answer is yes, then you're in the right place. Hi there everyone, my name is Andrei Marius, and in this Envato Tuts tutorial, I will show you how to create this trendy t-shirt design in Adobe Illustrator. As always, before we begin, make sure to check out Envato Elements, where with a simple subscription you can get unlimited access to millions of creative digital assets, such as music, graphics, photos, fonts, and many more. You can subscribe right now with the link in the description. Let's open Illustrator to create a new document. Select pixels from this drop-down menu, set the width and the height to 850 pixels. Make sure that the color mode is set to RGB and the resolution to 72 pixels per inch, and then click this button to create your new document. You can press Ctrl and 0 to fit the artboard on your entire screen, and then go to View and Show Grid to enable the grid, and again to View and Snap to Grid to enable the Snap to Grid feature. For the beginning, you will need a grid line every 10 pixels, so let's go to Edit, Preferences, Guides and Grid. Enter 10 in this grid line every box, keep the subdivisions set to 1, click OK, and now as you can see, you will have a grid line every 10 pixels. Before we start the work on the design, let's also open the panels that will be used throughout this tutorial. Just go to Window in the menu bar and open the Appearance panel, the Color panel, the Gradient panel, the Info panel, the Layers panel, the Pathfinder panel, and the Transparency panel. Now that you're set, you can start by selecting the Ellipse tool from your toolbar and use it to create a 470 pixel circle. Just click and drag. Remember to hold down the Shift key as you click and drag to turn your shape into a circle, and have a look inside the Info panel to know exactly the size of your shape as you're creating it. Once you get to 470, you can release the mouse button and you got your shape. Let's remove the stroke color and then focus on the Control panel where you need to set the alignment to artboard, and then click these two buttons to easily move your circle in the center of the artboard. With the shape selected, let's go to Object, Path and Offset Path. Set the offset to -90 pixels and click OK to create this new shape. Click the gradient thumbnail from the gradient panel to fill this new shape with a linear gradient. Set the angle to 90 degrees and then focus on the gradient sliders. Double click the left one, change the color mode to RGB and replace the color with 193, 3 and 75. Double click this other gradient slider, again change the color mode to RGB and replace the color with 252, 194 and 68. And then click on your gradient bar to add a third gradient slider. Keep it selected and set the location to 50%, and then double click it to replace this color with 250, 65 and 34. Now that you have these two circles, let's switch to the rectangle tool from the toolbar and use it to create a 360 by 100 pixels shape. You can do this manually as we did with the circles, or much easier, you can just click on your artboard, enter 360 for the width and 100 for the height, and click OK to create your new shape. Let's replace this linear gradient with a flat color. Make it 252, 194 and 68, and then switch to the selection tool to align this rectangle with the right and bottom edge of this white circle. You can do this manually, or much easier, you can hold down the Shift key to select the rectangle along with the circle. Click again the circle to make it the reference shape, and then just click these two buttons to align your rectangle with the right and bottom edge of the white circle. Once you're done, select just the rectangle and move it 40 pixels up. Remember that you can have a look inside the Info panel to know exactly how much you've moved your shape, and 30 pixels to the right. Additionally, keep in mind that holding down the Shift key will constrain the movement of your shape. Once you're done, switch to the direct selection tool from your toolbar, select just this point, and let's drag it 60 pixels up. When you're done, go to Effect, Distort and Transform and Zigzag. Set these two values to 5 and 3. Make sure that you have the absolute and smooth boxes checked. Click OK to apply the effect, and then go to Object and Expand Appearance to expand your effect. Now use the selection tool to reselect your white circle. Press Ctrl C and Ctrl F to add a copy in front. Hold down the Shift key to select this copy along with your yellow shape, and then just click this intersect button from the Pathfinder panel. Reselect the rectangle tool from your toolbar to create a 320 by 130 pixels shape. Fill this new shape with 247, 73 and 1. Align it with the bottom and left edge of your white circle. And then select just the rectangle and move it 10 pixels to the left and 20 pixels down. Switch to the direct selection tool so that you can select just this point. Drag it 100 pixels up. And then go again to Effect, Distort and Transform and Zigzag. Again, set these values to 5 and 3. Check these two boxes. Click OK to apply the effect. And then go again to Object and Expand Appearance to expand the effect. Switch to the selection tool from your toolbar to select the white circle. Press Ctrl C and Ctrl F to add the copy in front. And then hold down the Shift key to select this copy along with this orange shape. And click the intersect button from the Pathfinder panel. Use again the rectangle tool to create a 450 by 120 pixels shape. Fill it with 193, 3 and 75. Let's align this shape with the bottom edge of your white circle. And then select just this shape to apply a zigzag effect. This time set both of these values to 5. Check these two boxes. Click OK to apply the effect. Don't forget to expand it. And then select your white circle to add that copy in front. Select this copy along with this shape and click this button from the Pathfinder panel. Select again the rectangle tool to create a 440 by 100 pixels shape. Fill it with 121, 3 and 70. Align this rectangle with the left and bottom edge of your white circle. And then move your rectangle 10 pixels to the right and 50 pixels down, like this. Go to Object, Path and add anchor points. Switch to the direct selection tool so that you can select just this point and drag it 30 pixels up. Again, apply a zigzag effect. Set these values to 5 and 2. Check the same two boxes. Apply the effect and expand it. Select the circle to add a copy in front. Select this copy along with this expanded shape and click Intersect. Now that you've got these shapes, let's add some shading. Start by selecting this orange shape along with the yellow one. Press Ctrl C and Ctrl F to add copies in front. Click the Unite button to unite your two copies. Fill this new shape with black and then go to Effect, Path and Offset Path. Increase the offset value to 30 pixels. Click OK to apply the effect. Don't forget to expand it. And then select your sun shape to add a copy in front. Select this copy along with your black shape and click Intersect. Move to the Layers panel so that you can move this black shape behind your orange and yellow shapes. And then focus on the Appearance panel or the Transparency panel, where you need to lower the opacity of your black shape to 25%. And don't forget to change the blending mode to Soft Light. Back to your design, select these two shapes and add copies in front. Unite them and fill the new shape with black. Go to Effect, Path and Offset Path. Set the offset to 20, apply it and expand it. Select the yellow shape and add a copy in front. Select this copy along with the black shape and click intersect. Move to the layers panel and drag this black shape below your orange shape. And then move to the transparency panel where you need to lower the opacity of your black shape to 50% and change the blending mode to soft light. Continue with the next shape, select it, and this time go to Object, Path and Offset Path. Set the offset to 20 pixels and click OK to create your new shape. Fill it with black. Select the orange shape to add a copy in front. Select this copy along with your black shape and click intersect. And then lower the opacity of this new shape to 60. And don't forget to change the blending mode to soft light. Head back to your design to select this front shape. Go again to Object, Path and Offset Path. Keep this value and click OK to create the new shape. Again, fill it with black. Select this shape and add a copy in front. Select the copy along with the black shape and click intersect. And then lower the opacity of this black shape to 25 and change the blending mode to soft light. Moving on, you will need a grid line every 5 pixels, so let's get back to Edit, Preferences, Guides and Grid. Lower this value to 5 pixels and switch to the Ellipse tool from your toolbar. Use it to create a 70 pixel circle. Fill it with 193, 3 and 75. You can press Ctrl and plus a few times to zoom in on this new shape. Use the anchor point tool to turn this smooth point into a sharp point, and then use the direct selection tool to drag the same point 120 pixels up. Continue with the rectangle tool and use it to create a 20 pixel square. Fill it with black and try to place it somewhat like this. Press the minus hotkey, which will activate the delete anchor point tool. Just click this point to remove it and return to the selection tool to drag a copy of this triangle. Hold down the Alt key and just click and drag to add your copy. Place it like this and rotate it. And then add another copy somewhere around this area and again rotate it. Once you're done, select all these shapes and just click this minus front button from the Pathfinder panel. Reselect the rectangle tool and use it to create a 10 by 150 pixels shape. Fill it with 121, 3 and 70. Place this new shape exactly like this. And then switch to the direct selection tool to select these 2 points. Make sure that you are holding down the Shift key to add the second point to your selection, and then go to Object, Path and Average. Check this both box and click OK to easily turn your rectangle into a triangle. Now select both of these shapes and press Ctrl G to group them. Place your tree around this area, and now you will need to add some copies of this group. Remember that you have to hold down the Alt key as you click and drag to add a copy. You can scale your copy manually or you can enter the values in the control panel. Let's place this copy like this. Keep in mind that using the direct selection tool, you can select just a shape from a group. And using the eyedropper tool, you can grab a color from your design to recolor a selected shape. This will look fine, and now you need to keep adding more copies, resize and spread them until you end up with something that's somewhat similar with this. Play with the colors and just make sure that the tree trunk color matches the color of the hill that it touches. When you're done, select the ellipse tool from your toolbar and use it to create a 280 by 80 pixels shape. Fill this new shape with 252, 194 and 68, and then go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and Zigzag. Set these two values to 5 and 3, check these two boxes, click OK to apply the effect, and then go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and this time select Roughen. Increase the size to 15%, lower the details to 1, check the absolute and smooth boxes, click OK, expand these effects, and then use the rectangle tool to create a shape that covers the bottom half of this new yellow shape. Switch to the selection tool so that you can select this rectangle along with your yellow shape, and click the minus front button from the Pathfinder panel. Continue with the anchor point and just click these 2 points, and then use the direct selection tool to drag this point about 20 pixels to the right and this point about 20 pixels to the left. Use the selection tool to select your entire cloud shape. Focus on the control panel to adjust the width to 270 and the height to 40 pixels. Let's place this shape in this location and then move it 40 pixels up and about 45 pixels to the right. And then go to Object, Transform, and Move. Just set the horizontal value to -20 pixels and the vertical value to 20 pixels. And then click this copy button to add a copy of your cloud shape 20 pixels down and 20 pixels to the left from the original shape. Fill this copy with black and then reselect the yellow cloud to drag a copy. Keep this copy selected and focus on the control panel to lower the width to 195 and the height to 30 pixels. Let's align the smaller cloud with the top edge of the sun and the left edge of your white circle, and then move it 5 pixels to the right and 10 pixels down. Once you're done, go again to Object, Transform, and Move. This time set both horizontal and vertical values to 20 pixels and click again this copy button to add your second copy. Fill it with black. And then select both of these black shapes and turn them into a compound path, either by going to Object, Compound Path, and Make, or by using the Ctrl and 8 keyboard shortcut. Now select your sun shape and press Ctrl C and Ctrl F to add a copy in front. Select this copy along with your compound path and click this intersect button from the Pathfinder panel. Again, turn this resulting group of shapes into a new compound path, and then focus on the transparency panel to lower the opacity to 40% and change the blending mode to soft light. Remember to go to the layers panel when you are done and to move this compound path below your cloud shapes. Continue with the ellipse tool and use it to create a 35 by 30 pixels shape. Remember that you can press Ctrl and plus a few times to zoom in on this new shape. Switch to the selection tool so that you can drag a copy of this shape 25 pixels to the right. Select both of these shapes and unite them. And then reselect the ellipse tool to create a 40 by 35 pixels shape. Let's place it like this. Drag a copy 30 pixels to the right. Select both of these new ellipses and unite them, and then select these two black shapes and click minus front to create this simple bird shape. Now press Ctrl and 0 to zoom back on your entire design. Press Ctrl and plus to zoom in a bit. Add the bird to your design like this. Drag a copy in this location and make it a bit smaller. And then drag a second copy and squeeze it somewhat like this. Once you are happy with the look of your birds, you can select all of these shapes and go to Effect, Warp, and Flag. Let's lower the bend to 25%. Make sure that you have the horizontal box checked. Click OK to apply the effect and then press Ctrl and G to group your bird shapes. Select this group of shapes along with your sun shape and just click this Make Mask button and uncheck this clip box to mask your sun shape. For the final touches, you will need a grid line every 1 pixel, so let's go one more time to Edit, Preferences, Guides and Grid. Set this value to 1, click OK to apply it, and select the ellipse tool from your toolbar. Use it to create a 112 by 32 pixels shape. You can press Ctrl and plus a few times to zoom in on this new shape. Replace this linear gradient with a flat color. Let's make it 193, 3 and 75. Switch to the direct selection tool so that you can select this point and drag it 2 pixels down. Do the same thing for this other point and also move it 2 pixels to the left. Continue with the rectangle tool and use it to create a 140 by 18 pixels shape. Fill it with black and let's align it with the bottom edge of this other shape. And then click the minus front button from the Pathfinder panel. Reselect the rectangle tool and this time create a 16 by 7 pixels shape. Fill this new rectangle with 252, 194 and 68. Let's place it approximately in this location. And then use the direct selection tool to select just this point and drag it 5 pixels to the right. Now select this shape to add a copy in front. Select this copy along with your yellow shape and click the intersect button from the Pathfinder panel. Now switch to the ellipse tool to create a 5 pixel circle. Align it with this other yellow shape and drag it to the left around this point. Hold down the Alt key to drag a copy of this circle 10 pixels to the left, and then just press the Ctrl and the keyboard shortcut to add 2 more copies, keeping the same distance between your circles. Switch back to the rectangle tool and this time create a thin rectangle. Make the height 2 pixels and the width 111. Now for the more challenging part, you need to select the pen tool from your toolbar and create a more complex path. Start from this point, go 2 pixels down and add the second one. Go about 22 pixels to the right and 10 pixels down and add the third point. Go to the right around this point and click and drag to add a smooth point. Go up and add another smooth point. Go to the edge of this yellow rectangle and add a new one. Hold down the Alt key and click this point to cancel the smoothness, and then you can close this path. Let's change the color of this new shape to 121, 3 and 70. And now using the same techniques along with the pen tool, you can create the wings of your spaceship. In the end, things should look somewhat like this. For the final touches, let's zoom in on the end of the spaceship. Select the rectangle tool from your toolbar and create a 22 by 13 pixels shape. Let's move it around this point. And then switch to the direct selection tool, focus on the control panel and set the corner radius to 7 pixels. Continue with the ellipse tool and use it to create a 24 by 13 pixels shape. Let's fill it with this color and place it somewhat like this. And then select both of these two shapes and click intersect in the Pathfinder panel. Now press Ctrl and 0 to zoom back on your entire design. Select all the shapes that make up your spaceship and group them. Place this group around this area. You can delete the white circle and disable the grid so you can have a better look at your design. And with this final touch, your design is complete. If you wish to check how your design would look on a t-shirt, you can always try a t-shirt mockup from Envato Elements, or you can try Place It. With just a few clicks, you can upload your image, add it to a mockup, and see how your design would look on a t-shirt. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Remember to hit that like button as it helps me know that I did a good job. Subscribe if you aren't already, and don't forget to click the little bell icon to be notified of any new tutorials. I'm Andrei Marius, and I'll see you in the next video.